Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
I don't know how much information we should share with the listeners and the fact that we've done 3 wine segments in a row.
It's a record.
Or if that's important because it's Friday evening now and we've done 3 wine segments in a row.
I can't think of a better time to drink wine.
It's literally a great Friday. I mean, it's the middle of harvest for us, but what a great time to talk to some of those that are also in the middle of the harvest coming out of Sonoma County. Excited to have Riggs Lokka joining us, coming to us from Sonoma County. You were raised in the wine industry, but I want to know more about what you're up to. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I've been lucky enough to be born and raised here in Sonoma County. My father was a vineyard manager for 45 years. My mom, they met down at Fresno State when they both went to college, and my mom actually was born and raised on a raisin grape ranch. So, wine grapes have been in my family the entire time, but glad to be back home, kind of working the system and making it do.
So can you make wine out of raisin grapes if you don't let them dry out to be shriveled up raisins?
Absolutely. It'd just be more like a port. So you'd be drinking syrup instead of wine.
Really?
Yeah, it just takes a little more work, a little more mentality of it all because, the alcohol content is based on sugar. So the sweeter the grapes, the higher the alcohol content. So hopefully you don't turn it into brandy before it turns into straight up syrup.
Yeah. What's the problem with it being brandy?
Nothing. I like brandy. It tastes pretty good.
Yep.
Now you're the vineyard manager for Emeritus Vineyards, correct?
I am. I got lucky enough to come back and take over for my dad.
No crap. You were actually taking over in your father's footsteps.
Yeah, he decided to give me a call in 2019 and said, I'd like to retire, son. And I said, okay, well, I come home every summer as it is and kind of help out on the ranch. And he was able to just let me know, oh boy, watch that cork. It's going to come flying out of there.
The mouth of the bottle is a little bit wider than, so just don't want it to break. Oh, there we go. Oof. It had to. It stretched our basketball pump opener. But
we can't open wine traditionally. There's just no fun for us doing it with a regular corkscrew.
So anyway, yeah, your dad. There we go. See, how fun is that? Your dad called you, said he wanted to retire.
Yep. He wanted to retire. And I was just lucky enough to I was an ag teacher down in the Central Valley of California for 7 years, and was lucky enough that there was this thing called the pandemic of 2020 that kind of helped in aiding the idea of, I don't want to be a computer teacher. I want to interact with people. So my dad offered for me to come home and had to interview for my job, but it was fantastic. Been back ever since 2020 and got to take over full-time around 2022. So that was a lot of fun. Been working here. I helped plant the vines. I helped put in the vines and got everything established here. So kind of awesome to, create a second generation, especially here in Sonoma County, and kind of push forward with that idea.
But Emeritus Vineyards is not your family-owned vineyard.
It kind of is. Emeritus comes from the name of old people, Professor Emeritus or those types of things. And my dad and Bryce Jones, who was the owner and operator at Sonoma-Cutrer, my dad had been working for Bryce since 1981. And so Bryce had come to him and said, hey, would you be willing to come over and help get this thing started at Emeritus? And in 1999, so came the fruition of it all. And so lucky enough, we are family owned. We're a bunch of families put together. That's what makes us a full-on Emeritus team.
That's pretty cool.
Love that. So, okay.
The whole story is
Before we get into more of it, what I just opened this bottle. Hallberg Ranch. Hallberg Ranch. What are we drinking here?
Yeah, so this is the 2021 collection of all of our different clones that we have here of just Pinot Noir on our 110 estate vineyard. This was the original ranch. And so this has up to 11 different clones in it of Pinot Noir. So if you don't know what clones are, they're all, it's like dog breeds. So when we talk about what we've got going on in the glass here, we dry farm things. So I know that you guys can't quite do that, or try and figure out if you can, but one of the largest estate vineyards here in Sonoma County that we dry farm, so we don't apply water at any point in time throughout the year. We just hope and pray for rain.
We dry farm here in Iowa. We actually are wet, even though we dry farm. Like, we actually get too much water a lot of times. But our neighbors to the west in Nebraska don't know how dry farming works. Right. Or if they do, they don't like it very much. They don't get very much.
So it's a Pinot Noir.
It's very good.
Did I say that right?
Pinot Noir. It's great on the nose. Get that slight touch of cedar in the end.
Cedar.
I get a little bit of cedar right there in the end.
You could say redwoods. Those are a little more apt to be around here in Sonoma County.
Goji berry. What? What do you get?
You're just reading the description.
How are you supposed to know?
It's just really good.
No, I think it's actually, gosh, it is. Everything we've had today has been some of the top tier. I mean, smooth. I could just.
So after reading the word cranberries in the description, I can get a little bit of cranberry.
Orange zest?
No.
No, but
what do you say? What are the tasting notes, Riggs?
With the tasting notes, that's the funnest part. Every time somebody asks me, I'm the vineyard manager, and so they ask me to go down to the tasting room and try to explain these wines. And I always say, I'm never going to tell you what you're supposed to taste. That's up to you. I'll just tell you that for me, it's a bright and floral on the nose kind of a wine that tastes really good. You can drink it when you're just sitting on the porch, or you can drink it with a 16-ounce ribeye. This wine is one that you can have any time of day and can be a porch pounder if you really wanted it to be. But to me, I think it's a very bright and floral, good fruit, not tired.
Is there a wine that's called the porch pounder? We were just talking about naming wines. I think that would be the perfect wine name.
Porch pounder.
It would be. I think that's one of my fun selling points, being younger in terms of all this stuff. I'm able to say porch pounder, and a lot of people look at me and go, well, that's an interesting name for a wine. Yes. But I think it's a lot of fun to talk about wine in a fun drinking manner.
You better patent or copyright whatever you got to do before Boone's Farm gets a hold of that one. So
it is fun, though, when we get to talk through these processes to where I know I must not have the experienced palate. Obviously, I don't, but to know what crushed violets taste like. I should know what orange zest tastes like, but not goji berry. They're also, cedar, I can get that, smoke some meats and that kind of stuff. But some of the tasting notes that you read with wine are intimidating because I don't know what those things are. I like the way you described it it can just be a full, fruity tasting wine. It can be a good porch pounder.
Yeah, I like to make things easy. I'm not a person that wants to confuse anybody, and I've never myself had a goji berry, but I know my winemaker has, so I'm going to let him keep writing goji berries.
Yeah, maybe that's what we should start describing it like. This is pounded on the porch. This is high-end restaurant. This is for your wedding day. This is for Thanksgiving morning. Like this. Yeah, this is for a sporting event.
Now, do you think that's part of the teacher in you?
Probably. At the end of the day, it probably does come out that I think about things how I would want to be told what they're supposed to be. I don't want to confuse anybody and get a confused day's look. I'd rather make it something simple. And and as easy drinking and talkability as we can.
So when we came out to Tulare to the World Ag Expo a couple years ago, we were just blown away by the diversity of ag in California and how amazing it is. And you said you were teaching kids in the Central Valley. Like, how cool is it out there? It has to be awesome, right?
Oh, it's incredible. I was lucky enough that I was born and raised here in Sonoma County, but then went down to the Central Valley and got to experience everything other than wine grapes. At Fresno State, I was the vegetable crop unit manager. So we were growing everything from sweet corn to okra. And I had never seen okra until I made it down to Fresno State. And so, the amount of agriculture that's here in California is so diverse and so awesome that it gives everybody kind of this better understanding of what ag can be and how it can kind of push forward what's going to end up happening next.
We haven't really followed much of the notes that Sonoma kind of gave us over the last couple of shows.
Are we supposed to do that?
No, not necessarily, but I appreciate a couple of things Riggs has here. He, while in college, used to go cut meat for the Fresno State Meat Lab.
I did. That was a lot of fun. I was, when I was at Fresno State, that was probably my best life experience other than meeting my wife. But, in terms of what I had the opportunity to do at Fresno State, I wasn't just, a student. I was a manager at the vegetable crop unit. I worked in the meats lab. I ran the sheep unit, was a part of the dairy club, Los Vaqueros for life. That was our intramural softball game team. So, we had a lot of fun. But I did like cutting meat. I was one of the leads in that room and got to learn how to cut all sorts of different kinds and make sausage. So that was a lot of fun too.
Do you still use some of those skills?
I do. When I have the opportunity, I love cutting up meat and making sausages, coming up with different recipes and that sort of stuff. Naming sausages like Tropic Thunder just because it has mangoes and jalapenos in it.
That would be good. Everybody throws pineapple in it. Throwing some mango in there?
That
would be really good.
Some goji berries?
Some goji berries? Yeah.
You use goji berries.
Did you ever do livestock judging in FFA?
So I tried livestock judging. I actually did some meat judging at the Iowa State Meat Lab. So it was pretty cool. White coats had their own white hat with a red brim. It was a very prestigious hat. I think I still have it somewhere, but didn't do it very long. Very cool. So,
well, Riggs here, he is a champion livestock judge.
Ooh.
I was back my senior year of high school. I was the state champion in California in the 4-H division. So
he's same age.
I was very, very lucky.
Yep. And he's the 3-time Sonoma County pruning champion.
Man, you got all the good things about me. That was, I used to be a pretty cool guy. But so I'm lucky enough that I made one comment about my wife, but I did win the Sonoma County Pruning Championship in the youth division when I was in high school. But my wife and my wife is now the ag teacher, so we switched roles. When we moved back up here to home, she became the ag teacher at the local high school, and just this last year we ended up coaching. Together, we coached the California State Grapevine Pruning Championship team. So that was pretty cool, pretty awesome. Undefeated season for us, and it was a great standout for all of us.
What wins the pruning championship?
You clip too far back. Don't clip.
In terms of pruning championships, I actually, for the youth pruning contest, you have to understand the different methodologies of how to prune. So you prune cane, which is, the straight up arms, the canes that come off every single year that you end up retraining. And then you have to do cordon spur pruning. So those are those heavy looking arms that are sitting out there and they have spur positions. And you have to be able to count buds and cut them flat or at an angle to let water run off of them, depending on where you're at in the state and how you're harvesting those grapes. That's the majority of it. And then you have to coach the kids on a test. And I was never good at tests. I could just do common sense. This is how we cut them, and this is why we cut them that way. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of intense, practices 2 times a week. And we do that from Thanksgiving all the way until the first weekend in February.
Now, we say every time on every one of these wine segments, we need to come out there and see you. But normally that's because we want to drink the wine at the vineyard. Now I want to go get the agronomics and like see the pruning championship and like, this is how you do this. This is why you would do this in this part of the state.
See, I was expecting it to be like a speed competition, like they used to have the corn harvesting championship.
The shucking competition, yeah.
And that'd be how many vines can you prune in a minute or whatever.
Yeah, and there is, for the adult contest, I actually run the one here in Sonoma County. And that one is partially based on speed, but speed isn't everything. It's it's about 30% speed. Our vineyard employees out here, they can prune about 3 of those vines in about 2.5 minutes. And that may sound like a long time, but that 2.5 minutes, they're pruning something like 80 different spur positions and making sure they get all the brush out of the way and it's clean and they're wearing safety gear. And those FFA kids, they get to go to that contest and take a look at things and watch how fast those employees are going. And they just go, I could never compete in this. But it's a lot of fun to put both of those side by side and show off champions to everybody in Sonoma County and the state of California.
That's cool. That is. I'm glad I read the paper. I wasn't going to read the paper.
How many wines? How many wines do you guys have at Emeritus?
What's that?
How many wines do you guys have?
We have 13 different SKUs, but they're all Pinot Noir. All Pinot Noir. With that, so the Hallberg Ranch is our biggest label or our biggest production that we have. We have a secondary ranch that we call Pinot Hill. It's about 8 miles south of the Hallberg Ranch, a little bit closer to the coast. And off of that ranch, we come up with 5 more. We make a white Pinot Noir. So
I saw that.
Yeah, so we don't allow for any skin contact. I call that one the vineyard wine because it's the idea that it runs right off the table and into a bin. True production ag in that sense. And then we also make a sparkling, and then we make a rosé. But being that we have a larger estate, we're able to kind of show off different clones that do different things and kind of showcase those, as odes to our previous winemakers, and then in addition to a clone that my dad stole from France. So kind of fun.
We stole it.
Emeritusvineyards.com. What's it like when you steal from another country?
I'm not lucky enough to say that I've done it. So, unfortunately, my dad can't tell the story anymore, but he ended up telling Bryce, I made a comment about Bryce Jones earlier. They went to France to go meet up with one of Bryce's friends. And my dad told Bryce that he needed to go get candles. They were staying in a castle in France. And Bryce looked at him and said, "We're not having a romantic dinner." No, my dad needed the candles so that he could wax off both ends of the cuttings that he had made and then be able to put them in his suitcase inside of a sock and try and get them home. Luckily for him, he didn't get caught at customs.
That's why they always ask at customs, do you have any agriculture products from another country?
Oh, they don't specifically ask you if you have grapevines in your...
No. I mean, it's a big deal, like China tries to take our corn, and that kind of stuff. So, it's I suppose there's a lot of ways of innovation like that.
Absolutely.
So when people come out to see the facility, do you have tours? Do you have tastings? What's it look like on site?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough here that we do tastings. We have our own tasting room on the south side of the building, and it looks out over our first 30 acres that we ever planted. Really beautiful view, kind of an open setting. Open year-round, 7 days a week. Only some holidays that we're not open. But we do tours. There's been tours that I've done where I take people to both, Pinot Hill or here around Hallberg and kind of give them a one-on-one tour of the vineyard. And we talk through the different wines, and then just a lot of fun, exciting stuff. Great little green in the back that allows us to maybe play soccer every now and again. But just a very, very fun place to be And right now we've just finished up harvest. We've finished our harvest this year at the beginning of the week. And so the vineyard is starting to turn the pretty colors of fall. So we've got the yellow starting to show up, and then we've also got the greens and reds, and just kind of showcases everything that's about the ranch.
That's very cool.
So if I want to find this, is this something I could find at a store, or do I have to just go to the website and order it?
You can find it at a good amount of stores. Total Wine is one of our bigger buyers that gets it from us. You'll find it in a lot of upscale restaurants also, but you can order it through the website, and it is found throughout most all states in the United States. We sell a good amount of it overseas also, so we are in the European Union at some point. So,
wow.
And if you ever go to Korea, you can get it in Korea.
Wow. It's random.
Such a random. Such a random.
Hey, I like to make it a little interesting.
You do. You've done a great job of that. I'll plug it again, emeritusvineyards.com. What a great opportunity for you. Conversation that you got to have with your dad, being able to come back, take over the role and put that into place. Also appreciate all you've done for the youth in agriculture and what you're still doing. That's always really cool. We launched Beyond the Jacket, a podcast to kind of feature FFA kids. So if you've got FFA kids in your area, we'd love to have them on the podcast. Just send us an email. We could love to feature them, give a discussion that way too, get some folks involved from the West Coast.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'll make sure we get you guys in contact.
Good. That's great. Well, Riggs, we appreciate you. We also appreciate Sonoma County. And listeners, we appreciate you as well. Corey, what do you tell the listeners?
Cheers. Pop yourself a bottle of Sonoma County wine. It's very good.
Farm4Profit Podcast.